The last time humans faced this level of scarcity, they didn't open a budgeting app. They survived. And the exact mechanism that got them through it is still inside your skull right now, switched off. Every single day prices go up and your brain stays in the wrong mode. That ends here. You go to the grocery store. You grab the same cart, the same brands, the same mental list you've been running for years. But somewhere between the parking lot and the checkout, something quietly bleeds out of your wallet that you can't fully explain. It's not one big purchase. It's 100 small ones that felt completely reasonable in the moment. You're not reckless. You're not irresponsible. You're running ancient software in a rigged modern environment, and nobody told you the game changed. Stay with me because this isn't another cut your Netflix video. What I'm about to show you goes deeper, way deeper. Inflation isn't just prices going up. If it were that simple, everyone would adjust and move on. The real damage is invisible. It lives in the gap between what your brain thinks it's paying and what it's actually paying. That gap is engineered. There are entire teams of people whose only job is to widen that gap without you noticing. And every paycheck that passes while you stay on autopilot, that gap gets bigger. Your grocery bill went up almost 30% in the last 5 years, but chances are you're not eating 30% better food. You might actually be eating less. Same package, same brand, same shelf position. Smaller product inside. That's not inflation, that's camouflage. And a brain running the wrong mode can't see through camouflage. Which brings us to the part nobody, in personal finance, wants to explain honestly. Here's what I need you to understand about your brain. It wasn't built for this. Not for steady prices, not for loyalty programs, not for subscription traps. It was built for scarcity, real scarcity. The kind where missing a pattern in your environment meant you didn't eat that night, where failing to spot a threat meant something bigger than you won. And under those conditions, your brain becomes extraordinary. It gets precise. It notices tiny changes. It compares value automatically without any effort. It resists manipulation because manipulation back then was a death sentence. That's what I call hunter mode. And here's what nobody tells you. You were born with it, every human was. But the moment modern life got comfortable, something sedated it. Convenience turned it off. And the exact industries profiting from your spending. They learned to target the sleepy version of your brain, never the sharp one. The question isn't whether inflation is real. It is. The question is, which version of your brain is going to meet it? Let's talk about what the sedated brain does at the grocery store, because that's where most of the quiet bleeding happens. The layout of a modern supermarket isn't designed for your convenience. It's designed to exploit your instincts in the most expensive possible way. Colorful packaging fires visual reward circuits. Big red numbers, sale, $4.99, trigger the same neural response your ancestor had when spotting ripe fruit. Your brain sees the signal and moves toward it before logic ever gets involved. Now here's where the predator gets clever. Shrinkflation. You've probably heard the word, but do you feel what it actually is? It's a product that quietly shrank. The bag of chips that used to hold 14 Oz now holds 11, while the price held steady or crept up. Your brain doesn't register volume. It registers familiarity. Same brand, same color, same spot on the shelf, and your brain signals. Safe, known, proceed. The predator hid inside something you trust. There's also price anchoring. A product placed next to something outrageously overpriced, not because anyone expects you to buy the expensive one, but because your brain uses it as a reference point. Suddenly, the medium option feels like a steal. It isn't. You got anchored. Your hunter brain would have caught this immediately. Your sedated consumer brain handed over the money and felt clever. This is happening every week, across every category, quietly, consistently compounding. Here's what I need you to actually hear. because this changes how you approach everything. You are not bad with money. That framing is wrong and it's costing you. The real issue is that the modern financial world handed you a checklist and told you to fight a system designed by behavioral scientists. Budgeting apps, expense trackers, tips on cutting subscriptions. None of it addresses the root. The root is that your brain's most powerful financial tool, the one that evolved over 2 million years specifically to handle scarcity and threat detection, has been disengaged by comfort and a world engineered to keep it that way. When your ancestor faced a season of scarcity, they didn't scroll past it. They got sharper. They wasted nothing. They saw through illusions. They planned 3 moves ahead. They shared resources strategically. They became, in every way that mattered, harder to fool. That's not history. That's your potential, right now, under inflation. The brain that survives this isn't the one that follows a tip list. It's the one that finally wakes up. Think about someone you know who seems to handle this economy better than they should. Similar neighborhood, probably similar income, but somehow they're not drowning. You figure they make more, or they got lucky somewhere. But that's rarely the case. What they have is a different relationship with value. Not frugality, that's a watered-down version of what I'm describing. Real value awareness, the ability to see through the packaging, the instinct to compare not just prices but units, a habit of attention that doesn't feel like discipline because it's wired in deep. And every month you run on autopilot while they don't, that gap widens. Not because they're smarter, because they activated something you haven't yet. And before your brain says, "I'll look into this later," that's the sedated version talking. Later is expensive. Small leaks compound into floods over months and years. But here's what I actually want to leave you with. Not anxiety, tools. 3 ways to activate hunter mode. This week, no app required. First, the unit price instinct. Before your brain falls for the package, the font, the sales sticker, look at the unit price. Not the total, not the promotional tag, dollar per ounce. That single habit cuts through shrinkflation, anchoring, and packaging manipulation in one move. It bypasses the emotional response entirely and triggers the comparative analysis your brain evolved to do automatically. Try it once and you'll never look at a shelf the same way again. Second, the planned kill. Your ancestor didn't wander out hoping to find food. They hunted with a plan. Meal planning isn't a productivity habit, it's the reactivation of an ancient survival circuit. When you walk into a store knowing exactly what you need for the week, you're no longer a wandering target. Impulse purchases collapse. Budget variance disappears. You stop being hunted and start hunting. The predator needs you distracted. Don't be. Third, the tribe discount. Humans never survived alone. They coordinated. They shared resources. They reduced individual costs through collective behavior. In today's economy, that looks like splitting bulk purchases with people you trust, comparing grocery deals inside your actual network, sharing subscriptions, coordinating shopping runs. This isn't extreme frugality. It's the oldest financial strategy humans ever developed, and comfort made it feel unnecessary. Under inflation, it becomes one of the sharpest tools you have. None of this requires a finance degree. No spreadsheet. No sacrifice, just the part of your brain that was built for exactly this pressure. You came into this video feeling like the problem was the economy. And the economy is real. Prices are real. The squeeze is real. But here's what you know now that the average consumer doesn't. The predator isn't stronger than you. It's just counting on you to stay asleep. Every unit price you actually check. Every meal you plan before walking through those doors. Every purchase you pause on for 10 seconds longer than you used to. That's hunter mode. That's the brain that was built for exactly this kind of world. And here's the thing I'll leave you with, because this is where it really lands. The same brain that gets manipulated by a sales sticker is the brain that, once awake, becomes almost impossible to fool. The gap between those two states isn't talent or income. It's attention. Sustained, deliberate attention. Start with unit prices, one category, this week, and notice what shifts in how you see everything else. The hunter was always in there. You just needed someone to remind you what it feels like to stop being the prey.